Hello everyone, Gregan25 here again, and we've got a replay to analyse, but this time it's not one of mine. I've done mine in the past. I'm going to be analysing Philip, or Headwad, my mod, because he sent me a replay saying he wanted me to analyse it and see where he could be improving. So let's get straight into it. And there's quite a few things we can pick up on here that will help him out. So it's good kick-off there, utilising the boost saving thing, so it allowed him to go up for that one. Perhaps there, when he went for that one, see, he was probably hoping to actually hit it and keep ball control, and in the end he just got hit up on the bottom from Jenny. But what he's trying to do is put it into the corner so he could go get the boost, which was good, which he did get in the end. Now he's got ball control here. He tries taking that around him, didn't quite judge it right. It was quite a common thing during this video, was when the ball was out in front of you, Philip, you were struggling to get the hit you were hoping for, and that often gave possession straight back. So that's an example of that. And what you did do there, which was a bad idea, was try and turn straight back. So trying to get it past him there, and then at this point you just tried to get the boost, where you probably should have just gone straight back to your back corner boost there, because it would have respawned. You know it would have respawned, because we can, this is something that I recommend everyone does. So he collected that boost at 55. He should have a kind of body clock going on right now of 10 seconds. So there, a bit of a mistake. He should be looking to go back to that back corner, and you see if he'd gone straight back he would have collected it, or at least been able to sit there, wait for that ball to come around, collect it and then go on to it. So he could have just gone straight back to his own corner there, rather than turning to try and attempt to get the boost that was close by. I know this isn't over-analysis of this point, but it will be a recurring thing. So missed dribble there, tried to come back for that boost. Journey got there first, and then you were on the back foot, but you made a good decision to hit it over the top there and carry on. So you collect the boost, and now they've got possession in their own half. You push up, and this gives you an opportunity to shoot. And I feel like you could have gone for that one if you'd just gone in, used your momentum, trusted yourself to go get it. The worst thing that would have happened is it would have pinched out with them onto the other side, which is what happened in the end anyway. So that put you on the back foot, and then you had to make this save here, which was a good save. Pushed it out to the side, allowed you to go get the boost and take control. And again, an awkward touch out in front. You're not keeping it close enough. You want to try and get it on top of your car or on the side of your car. So at this point here, it was a good idea to wait for it, but you touched it too far forward there, where you should have either let it roll out a bit and try and scoop it up onto the front of your car as it was bobbling, or just let it roll and get to the side of it and try start dribbling it with the side. Instead it got too far in front, and then it was easy to defend against. Good idea to come back in there, didn't quite make it, and you decided to retreat via the boost. I potentially would have gone via his boost there. So at this point here, if you'd gone via his corner boost onto your boost, then he wouldn't have had any boost at this point. It would have been stuck in his own corner with no boost. You could have even left the ball, and you could have looked to boost starve him at that point. Perhaps a little bit too early jumping into this. So just these judgment situations. So here, that was a good decision to go for that and try and put it down there, but you lost possession of it. But it did stop them in their tracks. And at this point here, if we just go into fly mode for a moment, that one. Let's just have a look at the distance. He's got probably a little bit more momentum than you do, because he's just come around in this circle here, where you've just come from here. Look how much closer he is than you. You've got to be careful not to overcommit to those, because that's when people counter on you. Anyway, let's just get back into it. You did do the right thing though, to then read it and try and block him from taking the shot, but then that did put you in an awkward position as you had to recover. Good decision to just tip that one up, but I would have stuck around and tried to do something with it instead, whereas you just gave possession straight back and retreated, which gave him a chance to do that long shot, which, very good aerial, sending it back down, keeping that pressure down in that half. Good idea to wait off, see what happened. It could have pinched out a lot. It didn't in the end, but that was fine. That was all fairly good decision making. There, saw what you were trying to do a bounce hit. You did this quite a few times, so when the ball's bouncing out in front of you, you kind of have to come in from a bit of a straighter angle really, and come in with your car facing into it. So here if we look at how you're hitting it, your car is underneath it. Whereas you want to kind of tip up into it and push through it. So one thing you can do to help that is you can hit it when it's closer to the ground. So if we go again into fly mode, this is going to be a long analysis. I might have to just stop at some point and say that's enough. But so if you see there, we'll have to go a bit slower. Right, so you see how far away you are from the ball? You jump up there and go into it. If you get a little bit closer to the ball when you jump, so if you were another few cars forward underneath the ball and then jumped up into it and hit it, you would probably go a lot further because you've got more of your car going behind the ball. You just let it bounce up a little bit too high and jump from a little bit too far away. That's just a very fine point, but it can make your shots a lot more powerful. Okay, and that's what you were trying to do there. You're just trying to power hit it. So here, good looking around there, making sure you've got time, which you did, so you then touched it down. So you got it on top of your car, which was really good here. What I would have personally done at that point is taken it down to the side, because you've got it on top of your car, you're not going straight towards the net. So you see how your car is not directly at the net, whereas if you're going straight towards the net, you'd be able to pop it up and potentially air dribble it or something, or at least pop it up above the net kind of thing. But because you're driving off to the side, you need to kind of get it to the middle. And you did try and recorrect that by flipping it towards the middle, but you're never going to get enough power doing that. So what I would have done earlier, at this point here, try and get around the left side of the ball and hit it, scoop it round. It doesn't matter if it rolls off, because you can roll it back on top. So that's just something with your dribbles, something to think about. But you almost got it in the end. Just a little bit of hesitation when he saved that there. If you'd just come straight in and double jumped into that and popped it in, I'm sure you would have scored. But instead you tried touching it down, allowing him to recover, and it was a very dangerous thing to do because you had no momentum then. Because you want to try and not get caught with no momentum like this. Because you got no momentum and very little control over the ball, and that just gave him a chance to score. Like I said, you should have just tried to pop into it originally. But that was just a little bit of hesitation. Okay, so if I remember correctly, you don't go on this kickoff here, which is fine. You notice that he's doing a fast kickoff, so he doesn't have a huge amount of control to slow down or keep control of the ball, so it was a good decision. I don't know if that's what you thought, but that's what you should think. Again, your line of your hit here was straight, so you didn't need to flick it to the right there. Because you were going towards the net, you can just pop it above. So this is something, because you did quite a lot of dribbles, I want to make a fair point of this. So this was good. You saw they weren't coming in for it, so you then got it up to the point where you could pop it, got underneath it, and at that point you should have just driven with it on top of your car and then popped it. And that would have allowed you to draw them out and then pop it over them, because they were heading back towards the net, and by doing that little flick hit, you're doing exactly what they want. That was just an unfortunate situation. So on the return there, he did a good shot there. It went above the net. You had to try and predict it. He was already there. The only thing I would have said is you didn't have to hit that out, but it's kind of like a reaction thing. You could have just try and push it towards the corners if you can, but yeah, that was just an awkward reaction save in front of the net. Right, so this one here, you didn't go again. I would recommend to everybody not to leave too many kickoffs because they'll start getting cottoned onto it, but it worked in this situation. You got possession, but you did give it straight back to him, but then thankfully for you he gave it straight back to you, so that was a good little touchdown there. And here we go, you got it on the side of your car, you tried dribbling it back in. That was just the ball got a bit too far away from you because you didn't quite have full control over it. So at this point here you pushed it out too far. So it's those hits in front of your car where you start giving the ball too much speed, that one there. Now you see the ball's got that trail behind it, that means it's going too fast. You've got to catch up with it, and that means there's nothing you can do that would quickly move it, and so he just able to dive in and get it. If you'd not done that touch originally, that one there, you could have driven on the side of it and scooped it left, right, done all sorts of different things to try and dribble it past him. but it just got a little bit too far out in front there with the dribble. Again, I'm going to concentrate quite a lot on the dribbles because there was multiple dribble opportunities you had, where if you got them, you'd have scored. So good there, waiting for him to do that hit. Just a little bit of hesitation to counter it there. So at this point here, you took his boost, which is good. You then went back to this boost, made sure he didn't have it. He missed, which now means he's suspended with not much boost. If you just tipped that one towards the net, it would have put him in an awkward position. But it worked out in the end. I won't go on that too much. You worked it out in the end. But just try not to slow yourself down in those kind of situations, because it just means that it gives him chance to get back when you don't want it. Good decision there to go across that boost. But at that point, you went in a bit too far. So right here, get that boost. I would have potentially not boosted towards him there, because you've given him the opportunity to hit that hard over you, which thankfully he didn't do, and it allowed you to get back round and take it, or try and slow him down a bit. But that was just an awkward, you went too far forward, so it meant you were always backtracking afterwards. Whereas if you instead had waited on the line at this point here a little bit more, or turned around, faked and turned around earlier, that allowed you to get round and potentially do something with it. The other thing I would say as well is trust in yourself, because you touched that to the side. At this point here, try and do something a little bit more fancy than that, because you're capable of doing so. Perhaps try and scoop it up over the wall, over him, and if not, then you can go up the wall and come back down and intercept it that way. I know you've got the potential to do that, so feel a bit more confident in yourself to do fancier things. So at this point here, you try and dribble it down the line. By get another touch there, you did one touch too many. So this touch here just put it out of your reach, which allowed him to get it. You did get the boost, which was good, but had you not got that touch, you'd have possibly been able to chop it down from the wall. So you'd have been able to, at this point, if you'd not got that touch, it would have come down into the middle, and then you could go left or right. But by putting it back on that wall, you're essentially hitting it to him, where he's then got the next touch, and it's giving him the choice over what happens next. It did mean he slowed down, and you could have got possession back again, but then it meant you were in an awkward position going back towards your net. So this point here, you got that little touch. You did one of those earlier. They don't really work. You're better off just maintaining your momentum, going forward, getting that boost, and coming back out on him. But in the end, it worked out. You managed to get back to net. He gave possession back to you, and you had an opportunity to do an aerial here. I know you can do those aerials, so that's fair enough, going for it. He put a little save away, and you just tried to slow it down again, where perhaps a better option would have been, after this point here, to jump into that, touch it forward and take it, or just go straight out to that boost and collect that, and then say, I've got boost. Now, this point here, let's just look at it from their point of view. I pressed the wrong button. There we go. So that was very dodgy. I could probably look from their point of view more often. But there, you see how you gave possession back there. You then got that touch that took it too far away from you again. What I would have done personally here, looking at you here, I would have gone up with it up the wall. So this point here, as it's rolling along the wall there, I would have taken it a little bit slower, waited for it to roll on that curve, and then driven it up over your goal and taken it away, because one of the safest places on the pitch, if you're comfortable with it, is taking it over your own wall. So if we go back over to your view, so this point here, that's fine. You maintain possession because they overcommitted. At that point there, when you change camera view, so just here, I would have taken it a little bit slower, waited for it to kind of come down to the curve of the wall, and then driven it up over the goal, and then taken it away, because taking it low in front of your net is very dangerous, because they very much almost dunked that there. You managed to come out, get the boost. They were really slow here, so you just had a lot more control over the situation, meaning they had to retreat. And we're going to see another dribble. Too many touches out in front, which meant you lost control. I think that's the key takeaway message here. If you're going to dribble, it needs to be either on top of your car or to the side of it, or going at a speed where you can catch up with it quickly enough to jolt it around, because you just can't do anything if it's too far in front of you. There, bad decision to turn back round, because look here, you've not got much. You're just about starting to get momentum. You've used quite a lot of boost to build your speed up. You then lose it all by doing that, allowing them to completely take it away from you, and then you've got a really hard job backtracking. And you see here how you're doing those flips. That's because you ran out of boost. And had you gone straight back to the mid boost, which you can see is still there. So had you at this point here just gone directly to the mid boost, even if it wasn't there, it might respawn. And if it didn't respawn, which it wouldn't have done, you could go back to your own corner boost. And that's the safer option there. Thankfully for him, he didn't make anything of it. So again, another dribble situation here. You got it out in front of you. One touch too many, and it meant it was out in front of you, so you couldn't get any good change in height or sideways direction, which meant you just hit it flat down at him. So at this point here, you should have, instead of hitting it on the bounce, perhaps you should have just got under it at that point there, had it on top of your car, or you could have done it on the next bounce, and then you could potentially pop it up, or you could get it on the side of your car, move it sideways, which is the thing Octane's very good at. If you're in the Dominus, for example, you'd want to get it on top of your car, and then you could potentially flick it, which would be a lot more dangerous. But instead, you pushed it out in front of you, straight at him. He's in a good position, good distance away from you, that you can't get it over him at any speed, because he'll be able to pop up and send it away. And he was at an angle which meant you couldn't hit it on the net, because he would just be able to dive across. And so that was good by him, his positioning there, because he's worked out that your dribbles tend to be too far out in front, so he can backtrack like that. Here, him trying to hit it away there, that was good of you to read that misplay there, turn around. You just got a bit misaligned for that long shot, but that was definitely the right option. That's just a little bit of drift understanding and practice, which I know you can do. It's just probably in this game situation it didn't quite pay off. Good decision to go for the boost there, but then you should have perhaps done it. So you're recovering back here, which was good, and you've got that momentum going forward. You could have come back across the net faster. So at this point here, rather than turning back out towards them, kind of go at the post and then assess based off of the line of the goal. So if that makes any sense. So here, rather than driving out towards the wall, you should have just kept on going along that orange line on the floor, and that way you could have covered across there in the original situation, just about, I reckon. And if not, then it's too wide, and that means you don't have to do anything, which it was in the end. But you read that little bit of misdribble there. Here, too far out in front, but it's fine because they can't do anything with it. Allowed you to get boost, they had to retreat. Clever to wait there was no need to do anything. And it was a good little pop-up there for a bounce, and then you tried to do another power hit, but again, you didn't quite get the flip off in time there. So this time you did a good little bobble there. They're quite deep, so the power hit wasn't ever going to work because they were far enough back. So that's something to perhaps consider. The power hit's one of those things that either gives possession back or has to go over them, and you were never going to be able to go over them there because they should always have scored. You tried to do a follow-up there, which potentially was a little bit dangerous, but it could have worked. But it should never have happened. It should never have got to the point where you had to hit that again. So this point here, you should have noticed that they're far back, and then just taken it slow, let it bounce a bit, try and get it on top of your car and do a dribble. But you recovered well. And here you're just waiting for them. You got the wall nicely here, clear it out. Good control of your car. At that, you should have been able to react quicker to that. I keep saying things like I'm being mean to you, like you should have done this, should have done that. It's just based off of a viewing point of view. It looks like you should have been able to react quicker, but obviously it's hard to say because I'm not you, and you might not have been able to see that from when you were playing, because it's easier to watch it when I'm pausing it like this. But it was obvious once you hit it off the wall here that they were probably going to get there first. So you get the boost there, and then you start boosting towards where it is, thinking that you might be able to get there. You did pull out in good time, but you could have reacted to that a little bit quicker and realised that they were going to get it, and perhaps waited for their hit in a more comfortable position. So here, this is exactly what I was speaking about. Get underneath the ball there. So you get the ball here, it's bouncing, You wait for the next well, you do actually get a hit there. Thankfully for you, it didn't go too far out. And then you're able to sit underneath it. And then you could just pop it up and scoop it a little bit. And do you see how he's acting like he has on every other single one? And you took it to that point there. He sees the pop, he reacts to it. But it's incredibly difficult for him to judge those pops, where when you're pushing it out in front, it's a lot easier for him to judge it as a defender. So that was good by you to take it on top of your car there. 20 minutes already, goodness gracious. This is a long assessment. Right, so we're going to overtime here. Now, reasonably good kickoff. You can serve quite a lot of boost with that, which is good. This is all fairly reasonable. You wait for that to land. You see that he's going for it and you pull out, which is good. And then you're sitting back there and watch it go over your goal. Thankfully for you, he didn't do anything with that. So here, you're tipping it out in front too far. It worked in the end, because you got that little pop. But at this point here, rather than hitting behind it, which is fairly easy to defend, admittedly he came in at the wrong time there. But obviously mix it up. Don't do this every single time. And what you did do well here, to be fair, is you brought it back towards the middle. So at this point here, you tipped it out in front. Then you tipped it towards the goal, which meant you just had to kind of guide it over him. But what you could have done is you could have got to the side of the ball at this point here, cut it across, cut it back, all sorts of different things. Or got it on top of your car and popped it. It's just when it's bobbling out in front of you like that, you have to be very careful, because as we saw earlier on, a lot of those touches you did go too far. So it did work in that last situation, and that's because you pulled it off very well with the good strength of the touches. But it's something to think about in the future, because it didn't work for you 80% of the time, let's say, in that game, where you're touching it out in front. And that's because the touches are very hard to judge when you're doing them like that. It requires a lot of finesse on the boost usage and stuff. Anyway, I think there was a lot of takeaway points from that. I think the main one was try and get it to the side or on top of your car when dribbling, or you need to have it on the bounce and power hit it well. And when you did power hit it in that game, you tended to hit it with the top of your car and scoop it a bit. Try and tip your car into it a little bit more, or get underneath it and pop into it a bit faster, and that way you'll get a lot more power in it. And probably a lot more accuracy as well, because you're hitting through the ball rather than underneath it. Another thing is try not to give possession back too much. But that's one of those things, when you're playing against a player like that, you know that there's a high chance you'll be able to defend it. So you could have, had you got ahead, just kept giving possession straight back in the deep. But in general, you want to try and keep possession, which you did do well. You didn't madly hit it quite a lot. But there was just a few points where you were just making little touches on the ball, which were just giving the ball straight back. And the last thing as well is trust in yourself to do things you can do, because I know that you can do good scoopy dribbles. I know that you can dribble it side to side if you think about it. There's a lot of time it was being pushed around on the front of your car, or being left for easy challenges for them because of slight delayed reactions. But I hope that was useful for people watching, and for you, Philip, as well. And I hope I wasn't too harsh on you. I wasn't trying to be harsh, I was just trying to be super critical. And from that, thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye!